All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Sorry I missed you yesterday. Ended up being a busy day. Only stream I got in was on the Patreon. I try to do a public stream every day, or at least a video or two. But all I had time for were some posts on my website. So if you don't follow my website, again, it is gematryeffect.news. There were posts up like this yesterday. Run over some of yesterday's top headlines and what's going on today. And we'll talk about why the federal government shut down. Will it end tomorrow? It'd be a very fitting date. But yeah, this bomb squad at the TPUSA event. The bomb squad was called because there was a bomb threat, and it's back in Utah again. And we're going to talk about the significance of this happening 14 days before Charlie Kirk's birthday anniversary. By the way, I had another Charlie Kirk video taken down for a privacy complaint. And all I was talking about in the section linked was they tell you the timestamp. I was talking about it being the 107th season and Mahomes picking up his 107th win, the significance of that, the day of the Charlie Kirk Memorial. Like, privacy complaint? What? But what else is new? I mean, YouTube's been taking down videos for bogus reasons forever. Again, when I exposed something that almost nobody still knows about to this day. The Transition Integrity Project, which simulated that Biden would beat Trump, Trump would refuse to step down, and there'd be a deadly altercation in America. When I exposed that in the days leading up to January 6th, where I said, just watch, there'll be some kind of chaos, some kind of reported death. It's all part of this simulation. The video was taken down for medical misinformation. The whole channel was taken down. And by the way, people are like, congrats on hitting 50,000 subs, you guys. This is at least the 15th channel I've gotten to 50,000 subs. And the reason I almost wish it didn't hit 50,000 subs is a lot of channels have been deleted right when they got to this point. Of course, recently had a video taken down. Now 2 videos taken down for privacy complaints. When there's, I don't know what privacy complaint there is. I'm just showing, I'm talking about news stories and numbers. You know, I'm not putting out any private information. Anyway. Actually, I just thought about something. Maybe I need to turn this feature off right here. I'm going to turn that off. Maybe that's what it is. 'Cause I'm not paying attention to what's going on in the chat, and these people are coming and doxing information. I'm going to go back and watch that video and see if anybody that doxing stuff is showing up on the screen. Maybe that's why it's getting taken down. Because I'm like, I don't get this privacy complaint thing. I had 2 videos taken down in the last 2 days for privacy complaints. So, yeah, because I realize that chat does show up on the screen. I better turn that feature off in case that's what it is. Okay, but anyway. Bomb squad. We're going to talk about it. Did you guys hear that Josh Allen died? Yeah, Josh Allen died. If you're not looking at the screen, you're like, what? The Buffalo Bills quarterback? Not that Josh Allen, but the Josh Allen who died, no doubt died for the Josh Allen you're thinking of. And this is nothing new in the National Fix League. Again, ritual sacrifice is very much a part of these ritualistically rigged sports leagues. And if you think that's not true, then what you need to do is turn off your cognitive dissonance and pay attention to what we've been educating about for over a decade, because it's undeniable. And we'll see just how perfect the death of Josh Allen, the reality TV star, is, who died for unknown reasons at the young age of 36. Jane Goodall's in the news today, known for studying primates and chimpanzees. Dead at 91 on the day leaving 91 days left in the year. 8 years ago today, it was the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting. We're going to touch more on this one as well. If you recall the work on Route 91, it had a lot to do with 101. Today can be written 10-1, like 101. Primates is 101, what she did her work with. Again, no one will question this person's death, but we'll talk about why it doesn't look like it was natural causes. And the Diddy trial is in 2 days. He just shot his shot saying, hey, listen, all I was doing was amateur pornography. Everybody else is doing it. And the judge said, nah, I don't think so. But this is also in the news on the day leaving 91 days left in the year before the sentencing date on 10/3. Don't forget who told you a year before he got arrested why he'd be going down at age 54, like R. Kelly. Today, a tower partially collapsed in the Bronx. Thankfully, no one was hurt or died. But 20-story building, 20 days after the 11th of September. Probably reminds everybody of something. Probably without even making that connection about the 20-story building, probably just reminded everybody of that day. We'll talk about the federal shutdown being blamed on Chuck the Schmuck by the right. Of course, it's all theatrics. That's how they keep people divided. Giving a lot of people a headache today. But I think tomorrow would be a day that would make a lot of sense for it to end, and we'll talk about why that is. And yesterday, Trump partnered up with Pfizer. At the beginning of next year, they're going to announce something called TrumpRX, targeting people who don't have insurance so that they can get their drugs a little bit cheaper. And this happening on the day, leaving 92 days left in the year, just reminded me of Trump being the father of the jab and how much money he helped Pfizer make that year and how much their stock price shot up that year. And then we'll talk about these brewing storms. But yeah, let's start right here with the bomb squad being called into the TPUSA event in Utah. Charlie Kirk dead at 31. On the same day this happened, his Cubs, they won 3-1 and stayed on 31 home losses for the year. Been talking about all the Charlie Kirk stuff. His football team winning with 31 points the day of his memorial. The game in State Farm Stadium. The last game of the Memorial Day was the State Farm guy, Mahomes, winning the game 22-9 for another 31. But yes, again, TPUSA has that connection to Utah and gematria. And if you're new here, gematria is the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. And again, these are the base ciphers of the English language, the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, both orders with numerology applied. You can see how TPUSA for Turning Point USA has the perfect overlap of 14 with Utah. And you know what else equals 14? Bomb. 14 days before Charlie Kirk's birthday anniversary on October 14th, this is the story. Again, they got to keep the psychological operation in your head, right? You just had the Mormon church shooting where the guy was shown in the image holding up a dead duck, like Charlie Kirk is a big Ducks fan. But supposedly he had bombs. He had IEDs with him. But yeah, again, you learn this little simple code of ABC 1, 2, 3, and you'll see the way the news stories are structured day in and day out. And it's amazing how many will come through and say, I don't know what the point of knowing this is. And it's like, well, do you notice that I'm the only channel on YouTube that every time this stuff happens, I'm able to trace it to the source of who's doing it? So for one, it gives you the detective lens to see who's doing it, which makes sense. It's the same people who gave you the calendar and the language as you know it, the Jesuits. The second thing is, again, it helps you understand how redundant the patterns are. I've been educating about rituals with Trump in 88 nonstop since he announced he was running for president in 2015. Again, my book, Letters and Numbers, has a huge section on Trump in 88. Again, let's just go over this one more time. Trump, Turning Point USA, the Republican Party, Evergreen, Colorado. Let's just keep that the list for right now. All of these things have the 88 connection, right? They all equal 88. Again, it's just been nonstop with Trump. In 1988, that's when Oprah asked him, do you want to be president someday? That interview was in 88, probably the first time the presidency was ever connected to Donald Trump. And by the way, both Oprah and Oprah Winfrey equal 58, like he eventually won his first election, the 58th, after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower, which Charlie Kirk's father helped build. And, of course, that 58's right there with Utah and TPUSA as well. Okay, so way back in 88. Again, just go through the archives of my work to see how many times we talked about Trump in 88. Probably one of the biggest 88 rituals that everybody remembers is the Mar-a-Lago raid on 8/8. You know, this year they put up 88-foot flagpoles at the White House. 88-foot flagpoles at the White House this year. That whole Kilgar, Abrego, Garcia debacle, his name's 88. The judge's name's 88. Maryland's 88, where it all began. I still remember the first time Trump took office, I said, just let's see what they do on the 88th day of him being the president of the United States. And I still remember what they did. They crashed a Black Hawk helicopter on his golf course in Maryland, which equals 88. And there was a lot to it because one of the stars in the NHL at the time, who was, was it the, I have to go back and look, but, you know, Patrick Kane, who played for the Blackhawks. Anyway, over and over this number with Trump, 88 in Trump, over and over and over again. But remember, Evergreen, Colorado, that's where the shooting was right after the Charlie Kirk shooting. And then it turns out that, oh, look who went to Evergreen High School. And look who graduated from that school in 88. Trey Parker, who does South Park, when South Park had just put out the episode of Charlie Kirk. Now who's the head of Turning Point USA? Erica Kirk, who was older than Charlie Kirk. She was born in 88. And where did she come from? She came from a Trump beauty pageant, which a lot of people say is kind of weird how she won it because she entered late. She'd never done one before. She won it on her birthday. Eventually, she's linked up with Charlie Kirk, whose father helped build the Trump Tower. Again, there's just so many 88s with Trump over the years. With regards to golf courses, do you remember the earthquake where the epicenter was on his golf course the other year? On April 5th, when he hadn't won as 47 yet, he was still just number 45 on 4-5. There's a earthquake, one of the biggest in the region in, what was it, like 200 years on Trump's golf course of all days on 4-5. But what did we do in our community? We said, oh, well, you know who else grew up in that neighborhood? Scotty Scheffler. And you know what happens in a couple days? The 88th Masters starts, and Scotty Scheffler was Lock City to win the 88th Masters. And by the way, we've hit 5 of the last 6 Masters winners. This year we had Rory for the career Grand Slam. You know why? Because this year was the 89th Masters and Rory was 35 years old. On and on and on. Sports are rigged, news is rigged, the market's rigged, crypto's rigged. You learn this knowledge, you see through all of it. And, you know, in almost every video that I do, I'm explaining these kind of things and the value of this knowledge and being ahead of the curve. I mean, who else in the country had the date September 10th circled in January for this exact type of story? A mass shooting, a tragedy, a killing, an execution? We did, because we know exactly what dates these stories recur on. I mean, why was that date so perfect? Because it was the date with 44 numerology, and it could be written 10/9, and so can October 9th, which is going to be the next date with the kill numerology. Again, kill, 44, 64, 28. There's one day a month every month that has those 3 date numerology paths that match the gematria of kill. And you see the 17? Utah Valley University. You see how it's 289? That has a square root of 17. So that's where the hidden other value was for kill. The date numerology the day he died was 64, 44, 28. Don't forget what the last question he was asked about was. It was about mass shootings or mass shooters. LGBTQ mass shooters. Mass shooters 64 and 44. And just for the record, it was about a gender bender, another 64 word, and his name, Charles James Kirk, 64, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so anyway, I don't know what to do with people who, like, to me, you shouldn't have to watch one of my videos and then go, what's the point of knowing this? Again, only YouTube channel who's way ahead of the curve, only channel calling this stuff out before it happens, only channel tracing it back to who's actually responsible for it, only channel bringing you the same recurring patterns leading back to Trump. I mean, literally now, you guys, it's been over 10 years of educating about rituals with 88 and Donald Trump. And my book about it is almost 8 years old now. It is 8 years old now. I finished writing it about 8 years ago, exactly at this time. I did add a little bit on after the Stoneman Douglas shooting happened, but yeah. Anyway. So now with all the 31 Charlie Kirk stuff, we get the bomb squad, right? 14 days prior. And just for a little bit more, this was in Logan, Utah. Again, Logan is 22, like Utah's 22, like Kirk is 22, like a 22-year-old shooter. And don't forget that the shooting was on the 253rd day of the year, the 22nd triangular number. Again, for the person who still doesn't get it, your news is structured mathematically every day. It's a provable fact every day. The secret societies that do this are based in numbers because they're based in Kabbalah. Again, look at the Masons logo. It's a capital G with instruments of geometry around it. There's something known as sacred geometry that's, studies how the same recurring shapes happen in the world and how it looks like geometry and mathematics are the language of God. People that study it just because they want to understand God, and then there's people who study it because they want to use the information to play God. Simple. Stuff is not hard to understand. It's not hard to understand why it's done, and it's not hard to understand who's doing it. There's symbols, They're all over the place, really. Almost every town in America has the capital G with the compass in the square. And the Jesuits, again, the reason nobody knows about them anymore when they were a hot topic at the start of the country is because that's who runs the show now. They want to make sure you don't know about them. They want you to always blame Israel for everything. You know who runs Israel? The same Jesuits that run this nation. That's why they set up that as part of the angle with the whole Charlie Kirk conspiracy. And isn't the mainstream media pathetic? While I was working today, a video popped up in my feed. Piers Morgan has on people to talk Charlie Kirk conspiracies. Now, first of all, they didn't talk about anything. He had on a former CIA guy, one guy who just came on and just parroted everything in the news. Again, I mean, you got to be brain dead to not see what's wrong here. Again, he wasn't loaded in an ambulance. There was never any crime scene tape up. There never was a crime scene. They've already paved over the spot where the shooting happened. Not to mention everything that's come out. And see, that's the thing too, you guys. Let me come back to the 88 thing. You know, the thing that's gone the most viral about Charlie Kirk with the conspiracy is the movie Snake Eyes, right? And again, the Charles Kirkland guy. How old was he when the Charlie Kirk shooting happened? He was 88. He just turned 89 on September 28th, but he was still 88 when the shooting happened. And that is the evidence of how planned out all of this stuff is. When Oprah was asking Trump in 88 if he wanted to be president someday, Charlie Kirk wasn't even born yet. You know, these people are chosen from a young age. They're groomed for the part. They play the part. You know, Charlie Kirk's being talked about like he was some kind of innovator. No, he was just somebody spreading right-wing tactics to younger people. The right wing definitely wants the younger market because you look at the pie of politics, that's where they get beat, right? Historically, younger people vote Democrat. So that is obviously a campaign. Here, let's get the young guy in here to just be Rush Limbaugh and realize that he said that's who his idol was. He said that's what he wanted. He said he wanted a show like Rush Limbaugh someday. All he talked about were the same talking points Rush Limbaugh talked about. And that's pretty much what the Republican Party's become. Rush Limbaugh was big on build a wall. Rush Limbaugh was talking about build a wall in the 90s. Ever since NAFTA happened and the illegal immigration started, Rush Limbaugh's been on build a wall. I was in high school at the end of the 90s and graduated in 2001. My favorite thing every year was the 2 days where we'd gather in the auditorium and you'd line up on the Democrat side or the Republican side, essentially, and you would debate current events. We were talking about the same stuff back then. We were talking about illegal immigration, walls, abortion. I mean, nothing has changed in this country. That's why this whole name of Turning Point USA is like, what turning point? This, turn the younger people to Rush Limbaugh? I mean, that's not a turning point. Should they start doing Oxy too and pretending like every other drug addict except for them should go to prison? The Rush Limbaugh way, the hypocritical way? And realize, I mean, that's what most of these politicians are, and religious types too, right? They're almost all hypocrites. You look at what they actually do in their personal life, it's totally different than what they advocate for publicly. And realize, I mean, isn't that essentially what religion and politics does? Doesn't it just make people liars? Don't you just automatically have to become a liar to support one of these parties? Look at the people on the left, right? 10 years ago, they were very anti-big pharma. You know, go see the natural doctor, the naturopath. This was the left, right? Nah, big pharma bad. But look at the left after Cooties 19. These people still got their masks on. That now they're advocating that getting a pokey doke is the pinnacle of health. It's like, look how fast it can happen. What do these people really stand for? And why did they all do that? Because the people on the left, they go with the Democrats, and that's what the Democrats were all doing during the scam. So now that's their whole new health stance. It's not about what it was the whole time leading up to that. Now it's, well, I guess we're right here with Big Pharma. Big Pharma saved the world from Cooties 19, don't you know? And it's like that with all these political parties. I guess the one thing that stays consistent with people on the right and the left is the people on the right continue to be like, I am pro-life. And are they really pro-life? I mean, these people advocate for war in a second. It's like, is that pro-life? I don't think there's anything about living with war. I mean, there's a lot of killing with war. I've always said it. The only thing these right-wing politicians care about when it comes to life is the unborn fetus. They don't care about anybody else's life. Not a one. And just by the way, for all you Christian right-wing nationalists, there's not a single thing in the Bible that's Christian that the Republican Party advocates for. It's pretty much the opposite on everything. And if you guys don't know this, the Bible actually advocates for abortion. Yeah, it's in Numbers. It's somewhere in Numbers 5. There's a long section on it. For anyone who thinks I'm lying, look it up. And if you don't know this, that means you don't know your Bible. The Bible actually advocates for abortion because there's a thing in Numbers, and for everyone's like, well, that's the Old Testament. The whole New Testament's based on the Old Testament. Let's get it straight. You New Testament people are worshiping the guy from Judea who supposedly was the Messiah that was prophesied. Jesus said he was the voice in the bush. But, Orthodox Jews will show you all the things that Jesus doesn't meet the criteria for to be the Jewish Messiah. And that's how they keep you divided too. But anyway, the point is in Numbers, it explains that if a woman gets pregnant by a man who she's not married to, that she needs to take essentially a poison drink. And if the baby dies, it dies. But if it survives, then it's meant to survive. So you can't tell me that's not advocating for abortion. And imagine if that was the policy for all these Turning Point USA types that want to make the Bible the standard. Let's just say that happens there. Let's be fair, because we all know that nobody really stands for anything other than their political party. If all of a sudden the Turning Point USA way happens, and now we're using the Bible just all the way through. I mean, make sure that you only got a cotton shirt. It better not be mixed or you might get stoned to death, because that's also a sin in the Bible. No mixed fabrics. Granted, everything almost in the store shelf is a mixed fabric. But anyway, it does say, so if we should we start doing that? If a woman gets pregnant and she's in a marriage, but she gets pregnant by a guy not in the marriage, should we start doing that? Because that's what the Bible says, that you give her the poison cocktail. And if the baby dies, it was meant to die. But if it lives, it was meant to live. Because to me, that sounds a lot like abortion. It's almost like they want that baby to die in the Bible. But if it lives, then it's kind of a miracle. And it was meant to live. It was a survivor. So should we go to that? Should we just go to the biblical way? Because that's what it is. That's exactly how it's advised in the Bible. And based on that, too, can you say that? So where's your stance that abortion is not permitted by the Bible? Well, murder's not permitted, right? So if you start saying it's murder, but now we can look at this example in the Bible, and actually, never mind. There's all kinds of murder in the Bible where it is permitted here and not permitted there. You can't use this book for anything. This book was meant to be used to divide the people of the world as well. But I'm just making a point. Right-wingers think they're Christians because they're pro-life. But again, Jesus didn't really talk anything about abortion. Almost seems like Jesus was hanging out with naked children in certain parts of the Bible. But that point aside, most of the things Jesus was about are the exact opposite of what the Republican Party's about. So anyway, yeah, Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk. I'd say it's just a giant fraud, just more right-wing crap and just trying to push young people into it. And understand, right-wing crap, left-wing crap. It's mostly all crap. What we need in America now I'll go back to this. Ronald Reagan, who was a complete fraud. I mean, he said, I want government so small I can drown it in the bathtub. That's what he said. And he made it way, 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 way bigger than any president ever had before. That's what we get with American politics. It's like, how can you go out and tell that to people and then make government way bigger? And you know what else I think is funny right now? For people who don't know, there used to not be many homeless people in America because a lot of people, as we know, who are homeless have mental problems. And this country used to have essentially insane asylums where these kind of people sadly were held. Their family couldn't deal with them, so they end up in the mental hospital. Have you guys heard the rumor that Trump's thinking about bringing it back? Just the Trump and Reagan things, the Hollywood actors who run on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. Reagan said, tear down that wall. Trump's called the president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of that wall as he builds a wall. Again, all of this stuff that they do is just playing games with us. We're just games being played. Here, I want to make another point, too, about this university and the 88 thing. Utah State University, you see how it has the 119 in it? 119 is the 88th composite number. And remember, Trump, Mr. 88, he was called president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, November 9th, 119. Berlin Wall's 45, like he became number 45. But this time he took office with the 119th Congress while the Pope was 88. got 312 electoral college votes. Next thing you know, the Pope's dead on the 312th day of Trump's age as we get a Pope from the 312 area code Chicago. And don't forget that he was born in 55, the Pope. Trump put out that AI image of him on 5/5 as the Pope. And people thought that was crude. Some people really didn't like that on 5/5. And then 3 days later, you get your first Pope from America born in 55. And remember, Satan is 55. Some people see the Catholic Church as satanic. Trump runs on Mega, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. Also, don't forget that Pope Leo XIV is 58, and he became the Pope on May 8th. His Cubbies won their 58th game 58 days before his birthday. The Cubs also stayed on 88 wins. Charlie Kirk's team, 88. They stayed on 88 wins the day of his memorial. But okay. So yeah, that's the bomb squad story with some other things thrown in there. Now let's talk about the death of Josh Allen. Josh Allen, everybody's thinking, what? Josh Allen? This Josh Allen from So You Think You Can Dance, who won season 4. Remember, 4 is associated with death. You had to see the 4 all over the place with the recent church shooting. You see it all the time if you pay attention to mass shootings. It's more often than not. Man, if you could bet on the death toll for these mass shootings, if you bet 4, you would win a lot of money a lot of times because they just reported over and over and over. And lo and behold, in the occult, 4 represents death. Manly P. Hall, who I learned this knowledge from, he even has a book about that, 4 and death. And, of course, in Mandarin Chinese and in Japanese, the number 4 represents death. But, yeah, this guy won season 4 of So You Think You Can Dance. And right after Josh Allen becomes one of 2 quarterbacks to become 4-0 in week 4 of the NFL, this man drops dead. And look at this. He's dead at 36 for undisclosed reasons. Buffalo 36, Bills 36. Look how they have to mention that he got $250,000 in prize money. That's a nice chunk of change, but that's not that much money. And we've talked about this before with people who've died in the world of celebrity. I remember this white rapper years ago who was endorsed. In the article, he said he had like $100,000 endorsement from some soda company. It was just like this. He was dead by the numbers. It was so obvious. It's like the days from his birthday that was his rap name or whatever. He was like barely into his 20s. I was like, look how they got to throw in there that he got $100,000 endorsement from this big corporation as they let you know that he's dead. And, yeah, it's just, I mean, I think that's part of it, you guys. You accept money from the cabal. Now you're in the death pool. And again, dead at 36. Both Buffalo and Bills are 36. If you don't follow the NFL, Josh Allen of the NFL, big star, who's getting a lot of advertisements this year. If you've been watching the NFL, you've noticed, wow, you're like, wow, Josh Allen's in a lot of ads this year. Bills last year in their stadium. But yeah, dead at 36. And he dropped dead for undisclosed reasons yesterday. Now notice, So You Think You Can Dance equals 92. He just dropped dead on the day leaving 92 days left in the year. And you run it in reverse, it's 106. This is the 106th season where the season began with the death of Armani with the Eagle logo. Right before the Eagles kicked off the season, getting their 106th home win in the NFC East. And like we talked about, Armani also equals 56. He died on the 56th day of his age. And his brand was launched in 1975, which was during the 56th NFL season. And then Armani's 29 and 43 like football. But yeah, there'll be a lot more of this. This is what goes on every year. And the day he died was the 133rd day at Josh Allen's age. Josh Allen's also 29 right now. Remember, football equals 29 and 133. Just like Bad Bunny. We just talked about this weekend. Bad Bunny has all 4 match with football, and he was named the Super Bowl halftime performer 133 days before the Super Bowl. That's 19 weeks. 19 weeks to the Super Bowl or 133 days. And that was the day of the Mormon church shooting. And again, a bad Mormon is known as a jackrabbit Mormon, also commonly called a jack Mormon. But if you look where the term jack Mormon comes from, it comes from jackrabbit. Again, I learned that as a child from an actual Mormon, and he referred to himself as a jackrabbit Mormon. But yeah, you get Bad Bunny on the same day. Again, nothing but jokes. So now it's Josh Allen of season 4, dead after Josh Allen becomes 4-0 in NFL week 4. And the other thing I pointed out, and I talked about this the other day too, is there's only two teams that are 4-0, and it's the Bills and the Eagles. And the Eagles are from the NFC East. And once upon a time, the Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls to the NFC East. And that streak ended in 94. What day did the Bills and Eagles become 4-0? On the day leaving 94 days left in the year. And now this. And keep in mind, Josh Allen was a Wyoming Cowboy. Cowboys finished out the day. But Wyoming is the 44th state in order of statehood. Again, that fateful number. 4-0 in week 4 goes the Wyoming Cowboy. Again, Dallas Cowboys finished in a tie 40-40, kind of a 4-4 thing there for week 2 too. As the top story that day was the twin shooters, both 40-year-old war vets. And remember, the one who got more attention was Thomas Jacob Sanford. When Thomas means twin, Jacob's the twin in the Bible who comes out after Esau. And as Sanford, as we talked about, if you look up what that word means, it means shallow sandy river crossing, and the Mormon Trail split with the Oregon Trail and California Trail in Wyoming at the Sandy River. So, yeah, so RIP Josh Allen, and then Jane Goodall. You know, no one's going to question the death of a 91-year-old, but she is dead at 91 on the day leaving 91 days left in the year. And don't forget the Society of Jesus equals 91. And, you know, 8 years ago today, it was the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting. And Jason Aldean was performing. And you see how Jason Aldean's 201, like Jane Goodall, like the Jesuit Order, who are the Society of Jesus, how these things come together. And don't forget, Eminem, he has that tribute song to the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting called Darkness, which equals 91, which came out 91 days after his birthday. And 91 is the 13th triangular number. You might recall the 13 tattoo in the images on Stephen Paddock's neck, even though that 13 was never really there. All the media images showed that over and over at the 13, but he actually doesn't have a 13 on his neck. Why was the media just putting a 13 out there? 13. Is that number important to anybody? Is it important to the Illuminati? Is it important to this nation, which was founded right after the Illuminati? Who founded the Illuminati? Was it a Jesuit? Eminem put out the album with this song on it, On a Date with 58 numerology. And let me see what all I put in this post. Just a reminder that the shooting in 2017, it came 58 days from the governor's birthday, and his birthday is August 5th, which can be written 5-8, and they reported 58 dead. For a second, they jumped it up to 59, and then they took it back to 58. Remember, Freemasonry equals 58 and 59. Room 135 in the video, little CIA thing. What did I not put? Oh, yeah, there's our Central Intelligence Agency. Gina Chariot. I got a typo there, but it's the same letters that would make a difference. It's got the E, the RI backwards, but yeah, same thing. Some nice 13 stripes in the screens, program in the minds. Music video asks you to turn in your guns at the end. Give up your rights and liberties because Eminem said so. And again, just the changing of time too with Eminem, because Eminem early in his music career, Columbine happened. And he had the lyrics about what he, about stand them all in line and shoot them one at a time, like he's from Columbine or something. I forget how he says it, but he got a lot of criticism at the time for that. Oh my God, how could he put that in a song? Oh my God. That was the old Eminem. And what's the more recent Eminem? Turn in your guns, get your Cooties 19 mask on. He literally put out a song during Cooties 19 about wear a mask, get your shots. Like, oh, this is interesting. But then again, Eminem, he's always been a Democrat guy. He had the videos dissing Bush, back when Bush was in office. So he's towing the Democratic Party line. They use Eminem for the Democrats. The Democrats went on this total 180. They used to be anti-big pharma. It was all about, natural medicine and all this. I should say all the Democrats, but that was more of a liberal thing. I mean, you go to a place like Seattle before Cooties, that was the idea. Oh, big pharma? No way. Western medicine? No way. After Cooties, man, everyone in Seattle still has their masks on. They're probably in a line fighting over to who can get the booster the fastest right now. Did you how many flu shots did you get? I might get 91 this year. Yeah, just how fast people can flip based on, what their political leadership's doing, what the TV's telling them. Just goes to show most people don't really stand for anything. They'll just do whatever they're told. Jane Goodall, her full name has this 122 connection. Dame Jane Morris Goodall, 122, like Jesus Hominum Salvator, which also equates to 274. This is the Jesuit motto in their logo. Remember, they've been celebrating the sun's birthday since 274 AD. The Catholic Church, who the Jesuits serve, was Sol Invictus. But yeah, today is the 274th day of the year, leaving 91 days remaining. Very fitting day for a major Jesuit ritual like we got back in 2017 with the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting. Notice her birthday is the day that is supposedly Jesus' crucifixion date, April 3rd, the 93rd day of the year, like crucifix is 93, like God's son, like Nazareth. Jesus Christ equals 43. Jesus alone equals 34. So does cross, so does church. That day can be written 4-3 or 3-4, but she's also born in 34. So I'm just pointing out why all the little Jesus things here for why she would die on this day. Don't forget the cross, historically, pre-Christianity has an association with the sun. A lot of times you see the cross with the circle in the middle, which is the sun, and then the four quadrants created by the cross represent the four seasons. We get the big Jesus holiday at the spring when the sun is resurrecting, the resurrection story. When the sun is, dying, we get Christmas, but then it also resurrects. It's the lowest point, and then it starts to rise again. Spring comes around, start to feel warm, the love of the sun. Again, astrotheology becoming religion, becoming stories to control people. Look at the advocate, or the tireless advocate emphasis here in this headline. You see this tireless advocate 101, like primates. That's what she worked with, primates. She's dead on October 1st. The Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting, just to remind you, it came right before the Raiders went to Vegas for the 101st NFL season. Did I put that in this post? Hold on. I think I meant to pull up a different post. Let me see. I think I linked the wrong thing. Here, let me go to my old website. Route 91 Harvest 101. There was a lot of 101. The name of the casino. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jason Aldean had the blackjack tattoo with the black sun. Remember, Chris Cornell died for that. But from the eclipse to the shooting was 41 days, the 13th prime, going with a 13 on the neck. The Las Vegas cards in the Illuminati card deck. You control the house by spending Vegas action. You may bet from 1 to 3 plot cards, 1 to 3. Hold on. Snap. Hold up. I got to pull up. Oh, I have it right here. Las Vegas Raiders joined they moved to Las Vegas for the 101st season. Mandalay Bay Casino, that's supposedly where he was shooting from. Assassin 101. And we just talked about this, right? The Charlie Kirk Memorial on the day, leaving 101 days left in the air after the Orem, Utah execution. And the next thing you know, the Mormon president's dead at 101 and his name equals 101. And then right after that, you got an assassin at a Mormon temple and Grand Blanc, which means great white, when the Mormon religion is historically very white, and it was written in their book. I've been told that they've edited their book, and it doesn't say that in the New Mormon books. And again, if you have to edit this book of prophecy told by the angel Moroni or whatever, doesn't that tell you that it's just a load of shit? But again, once upon a time, what was in that book is the closer to God you are, the whiter your skin becomes. So I'm just thinking about what that religion's saying. And in a way, I mean, maybe they're telling us that the future religion of America is Mormonism, because it would probably help people get behind the campaigns of bombing brown people endlessly, as America's always doing. So, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to bring the parallels in here. 101, 91 is a lot about what we talked about with the shooting. And again, it factors in with this news being manufactured by a code. It could be a mass shooting. It could be the death of a celebrity. It's all about the numbers. So, again, my title, could a primate learn gematria? Seemingly, probably more easily than a lot of Americans can. And think about what that means for the average American. What has been done to the mind of the average American who comes through my video and says, what is the point of knowing any of this? What videos are you watching? You don't see the difference between what we're doing here and everybody else? Everybody else is talking out of their ass. Everybody else is waiting for the mainstream to give them the details so that they can know what's going on. We got it all figured out when the news breaks. I showed you from, boom, the news broke. Oh, look, it's another Trump 88 ritual. Was I proven wrong by anything that happened afterwards? Was I proven wrong when we get the 88-year-old or not? Yeah, well, we did get the 88-year-old who played Charles Kirkland once that was uncovered. Did that disprove what we're saying? Oh, when we realized that Trey Parker graduated from the high school in 88 where the shooting happened, did that disprove it? And again, what's the name of that South Park episode? Got a Nut that came out about Charlie Kirk? 37 like Utah Valley, like shooting, like Wednesday, from 88 to 2025 is 37 years. Out of all the things they could have called that episode, Got a Nut. You don't see how they like have to just contrive this shit as well? Got a Nut, kind of a dumb episode name. Got a Nut. Probably plays on the Society of Jerk-Offs. Imagine if the majority of the internet capacity wasn't being used right now for online gaming, jerking off, and watching the latest worthless trash that was put out by Netflix or any of these platforms, but they were actually learning about what was going on. Imagine if YouTube wasn't shutting down my videos over BS and saying it's dangerous to the community that they want to keep safe. Well, meanwhile, you see what's going on with this left versus right and a lot of vitriol being thrown at both sides. The stuff that's actually dangerous has hundreds of thousands, millions of views. My videos, you know, they took down the one that got views, and since then I haven't had any video had any success. You know, I saw Brian, the first video he put out was a whole bunch of misinformation, and it's still up. And I see his videos are now doing very well. So he put out a video that was very misleading, full of false information. YouTube hasn't punished him. He's getting hundreds of thousands of views for the first time in a long time. And you know, Brian's a plant. It's very obvious. His job is to assist all the other people that are here. He's just kind of like you know how like birds will land on alligators' teeth and help clean their teeth so the alligator lets them sit there and eat? That's kind of what Brian is, because all he does is just bring up all the big name YouTubers. Like, it's like, do these y'all need any more attention? I mean, they're already getting all the views. Brian, he always got to do one thing. Listen, here's the whole proof of who runs the world. Let me read this one quote from 200 years ago by a Rothschild. See? That's my only piece of evidence for my whole theory about everything. Brian, who's on the record trying to downplay what we're doing over here numerous times. Okay. It's like when all you have is one quote from 200 years ago, I don't think that's a very solid case to prove your worldview. Shoot, I'm getting a phone call. I'll finish it up and then I'll make the call back. Yeah, just Sean Combs back in the headlines on the day, leaving 91 days left in the air. The sentencing date is in 2 days. Again, was there anybody on the internet a year before he got arrested saying why he was going to go down at 54? Because I know I did. You know, we're always way ahead of the curve over here. If you're not caught up in all that, you can go back and revisit it all. It was the day that Clarence Avant died that I said, Diddy's going to go down at 54. And you can go back and watch that video and see why I said that. I believe it's still up. But yeah, day leaving 91 days left in the year. Good day to have him back in here. Sentencing date's 10-3. He tried to appeal saying, listen, I was just an amateur pornographer, which equals 103, like the 10-3 sentencing date. And the judge said, nuh-uh. And just remember how Jesuit order and pornography overlap. They got this triple overlap. 144, 72, 153. Where they differ, it's 45 and 54. The Mann Act is the thing that's being used to sentence him. The Mann Act is 54. To make a long story short, when Diddy was a lot younger, he played his song that uses the riff from Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. He did Saturday Night Live show next to Jimmy Page, who was 54 years old at the time. And in that song, Come With Me, to the Led Zeppelin tune, is from Godzilla. Godzilla came out in 54. But Diddy says at that show, watch me rise, watch me fall. And remember, the word sun is 54, which is the Jesuit Order's logo. The sun is a star. We call people on the world stage stars. Diddy a big star. And at age 54, he's becoming a burnt out star. Legacy over. Forever going to be associated with the beating video with Cassie. And again, there's just a million things to it, but 54 was the big one. And when Clarence Avant died, he died 54 years after establishing his record label Sussex Records, which equals 54. And the image that was syndicated everywhere was Clarence Avant with Diddy and also with Jay-Z. And I thought Jay-Z might also be in trouble at 54. And rumors came out, and there was a little sign and some accusations at the tail end of 54 for Diddy. Or not Diddy, but Jay-Z. But yeah, Diddy was the bigger one. There's always been the rumors about Diddy. And remember, Diddy's father worked for Frank Lucas, and Denzel Washington portrayed Frank Lucas. And remember, right when Diddy got busted, all of a sudden they put American Gangster on Netflix. And remember, I was already talking about, I was showing how Diddy, two of his worst moments, the stampede at his concert and the club shootout, were both on Denzel's birthday. And Denzel and Diddy are born 54 days apart. And of course, Denzel is Jesuit educated. He went to Fordham. Denzel Washington went to Fordham, just like Trump. But yeah, there's a lot to it. It was also synced up with Kamala Harris. Diddy did the whole vote or die thing. He went to Howard with Kamala. Kamala did her announcement that she lost at Howard by the numbers. But yeah, there was a lot to everything we covered with Diddy. And remember, the buzzword from all this is freak offs, which equals 42, like Puff Daddy. If you drop the from it, Man Act's also 42, the number they use to shame black people over and over. I still remember when they got up there to present that Diddy was guilty, they just kept saying freak offs over and over. I was like, what the hell? So what is that, illegal, a freak off? Because that's all they had. He's like, Diddy had been in a lot of freak offs, and we recovered a whole bunch of dildos from the freak offs, and then there was another freak off, and there were even more dildos there, and another freak off. I was like, what is this? Freak offs? And then you just run the gematria and you say, oh, I get it. Freak offs. No wonder. I'd never heard this phrase before, but okay, it's just like Puff Daddy, his original rap name. I got it. 42. More black shaming by the old 42 code. Remember slavery, Tuskegee, the N-word, a whole bunch of things. February, Huxtable, Cosby Show. It all goes back to 42. Okay. And then, yeah, I'm just going to keep this one short. I mean, there's probably more to it, but come on, man. It's 20 days after the 11th of September, and we got a building partially collapsing in New York. Good God. It's the first day of the only 33 month. October is the only month that equals 33. Like masonry, like secrecy order, like federal. Remember, in 1968, that's when they started building the World Trade Centers. That was 33 years before 2001. It was the year they made 911 the national emergency dialing code. They said South Bronx, which equals 156, like 33. When you spell it out as words, they both equal 156, and 911 is the 156 prime. See this? South Bronx. Whoops. South Bronx, 156. 33, 156. 911 is the 156 prime number. Remember from the here. Let me pull this up right here. July 28, Empire State Building. Remember, a plane flew into the Empire State Building after World War II, and it didn't fall down. It didn't fall down into a pile of dust. Lo and behold, weird. Look at the headline from this. Oh, they have 4 killed in Manhattan. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, this isn't actually what I meant to pull up. Snap. This was another shooting 44 story that's also a big theme with the NFL this year. But hold on. Notice the Giants running back this year's number 44. Remember, the owner of the Giants, Tish, his daughter's the head of the NYPD and was the spokesperson for that. This is what I meant to bring up. The day that the plane hit the Empire State Building was the 209th day of the year. Empire State Building 209. This is back in 1945, and it's the day leaving 156 days left in the year. You see, like 9/11 is the 156 prime. And this is the point I'm trying to get through to people's head, you guys. I guarantee you, these psychopaths had 9/11 planned out for a long, long time. Even before it was implemented in 1968, I've pointed out a lot the Lord of the Rings. That became a huge popular series around the time 9/11 happened. And the book, The Two Towers from the Lord of the Rings series, was published on 11/11, about the same time the Empire State Building was hit with this plane. And as we know, Papa Bush speaking 11 years to the day of the buildings coming down in the 11th state, New York, on the 11th of the month, which started with flight AA11. Again, the World Trade Centers literally look like an 11. 11's the master number in numerology. That's why it hurts me every time somebody's like, what's the point of knowing this? Like, you don't see that everything is a number ritual? You don't see that it's all number rituals? Understanding what these numbers mean to these people and that they're numerologists and this is how they operate, it's paramount to understanding the way the people who rule over you rule. And that's what I mean. It's just, I think that'd be an interesting study. Is a primate smarter than the average American? I'd put my money on the primate. I bet they'd have more ability to learn. Because again, you have to decide what smart is. You're like, well, they can't do as much as us. I have a feeling the average primate is more capable of learning what I'm teaching than the average adult American. I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm pretty sure the primate would have a better understanding of what I'm teaching every day than the average adult American. And I'm not, that's not cap. That's not me exaggerating. I really think it's true. If you've ever come here and said, what's the point of knowing this? I'm sorry. I mean, IQ's got to be no better than room temperature. Can't be better than that. Nobody should ever have to ask that question. It's a ridiculous question to ask. What's the point of knowing this? If I didn't know about this and I watched this, I'd be like, damn, I need to know more about this. I see what he's showing here. How many times have I talked about Trump in 312 since he got 312 electoral college votes? And now Charlie Kirk from the 312, he's the latest part of this. But Chuck the Schmuck, it just happens to be 312 days after we get the government shutdown. Tomorrow's the 275th day of the year, right? Federal government's 275. So if it went extra long, if it took like a week, 6 days from today is the day, leaving 85 days left in the year. That's hard to imagine, but they would really be driving people nuts if they did that. Because, people, I believe Social Security checks and a lot of things like that are put on pause while this is going on. And think about that for all the people that depend on Social Security and live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people on Social Security, after what comes out for their health care, they get around, $1,500 a month. Pretty tough to live on at this day and age. Paying rent, food, to get by on $1,500 a month, not easy. Not easy. And then imagine, like, you're counting on that, and now no check. Timing doesn't work out for you. So, and by the way, that's why I'd also say you don't ever want to be relying on the government. You don't ever want to be looking in the future thinking like, well, I'm going to rely on Social Security. That should not be your mindset. My mindset is that Social Security is going to be gone by the time I'm a Social Security age. I'd like to think it wouldn't be, since I've had to pay all this in my whole lifetime, but I'm just, I don't want to be relying on anybody. You never know when a Chuck the Schmuck and an Orange Goon are going to have their latest little political shit show. Might cause a real inconvenience in your life. Federal employees, just other people too. Federal employees live paycheck to paycheck. Might be normally payday today. They're really counting on payday today. It's the start of the month. And what do you think about this with Tammy Duckworth being one of the senators in Illinois, having a 312 birthday? Isn't that interesting? I'm just thinking about the Charlie Kirk thing, and his wife's eulogy, which she's just like, and by the way, Charlie loved the Bears and the Ducks. What the hell? I mean, seriously? How is he even an Oregon Ducks fan? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, is there anybody in Illinois that cheers for the Oregon Ducks? In what world? I'm telling you, it's just they got all these rituals planned, just like how the Oregon Duck quarterbacks all won on his memorial, except for Bo Nix, because he was up against another Oregon quarterback. And again, Justin Herbert, he became 6-4 beating the Broncos, 6-4 versus the Broncos, like Denver Broncos was 64. We didn't miss that one. I know so far we're 2-0 in that Guardians-Tigers series. We had the Tigers yesterday. We had the Guardians today. Boom. All right. Yeah, just TrumpRX announced on the day, leaving 92 days left in the year. This was a number that came up with the whole cooties thing. And I'm just thinking, okay, father of the jab, helping Pfizer make money again. There's got to be more to this. I mean, I could tell you another 92 phrase. I think this is why Etsy took down my book once upon a time. I talked about how the synagogue of Satan equals 92, and it also equals 223. You see how Brooklyn, New York is 223, like the synagogue of Satan? Etsy's out of Brooklyn, New York. Remember, they used those Etsy witches to cast the spell on Charlie, Jezebel. And then the Jezebel is part of the plot of Snake Eyes. But yeah, Trump and Mega could be part of it. Nature isn't good enough. We all need more big pharma in our veins. Trust the father of the jab, who's launched Maha, Make America Healthy Again, as he tells people to eat McDonald's. Somebody mixed messages. It's almost worse than the Bible. It's a reminder he's a Society of Jesus pawn, having gone to Fordham. Yesterday was the day, leaving 92 days left in the year. Another way to look at it is it was the first of the last 93 days left in the year, because when you say the day leaves 92 days left in the year, it means there's 92 days that come after it. So if you include that day, it'd be the first of the last 93 days of the year, as yesterday was. This became a hurricane yesterday, and they're saying they got two. Remember, the other one went up to a Category 5 on just out of nowhere on September 27th, which is the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. But yeah, there's these two big storms out at the sea, and they're saying it's going to send waves and some potential flooding to parts of the East Coast. It's interesting. This year, because of the way the dates fell, there were hardly any 52 date numerologies. And so far, there really haven't been many big hurricane stories. But hurricane season's not over. And we'll see. We'll see if one of these things ends up being something like last year. Last year, we knew it was going to be real bad because Hurricane is 52 and The Rock, a Miami hurricane, was 52 and his birthday's 5-2. And again, both those hurricanes last year were perfectly synced with The Rock. This is the world we live in, and this is how these people operate. If you doubt that, you should go back and revisit that work. Yeah, one of the most devastating hurricanes last year formed 146 days after The Rock's birthday on the day, leaving 97 days left in the year, September 25th. But yeah, again, I'm making the point that we saw that one hurricane become a Category 5 on the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. And again, weather control and the Jesuit order have this triple overlap. 177, 69, 201. And some of the craziest weather events you've seen in recent history have had these numbers in them in very specific ways. When Yellowstone, for example, a big chunk of it got damaged with what they said was a once-in-a-thousand-year rain event. That was June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year, smashing a national park. And yeah, the video that was taken down yesterday, this is what's on the screen when they said the privacy complaint happens. So actually, that's what it's got to be. See how I have the chat up here, and you can see that the doxing thing is going on. So, and I guess this is why they're always in the chat doxing, because they know it's a good way to get my content flagged. Isn't it crazy how and what's funny is the people who are getting doxed are full-time trolls of mine. That person whose name up there, that's his job, to full-time troll my work. Just make up stupid rumors and stuff like. And what's a joke too is once upon a time I thought that person was trying to help out the community. He had a bad thing happen in his life, and I helped him raise money. I've never done anything to that guy besides help him, but I also, I don't have anything to do with his doxing. It's just the people who keep showing it. He might be doxing himself. That might be him. They're just doxing himself so they can go play the video and say, hey, that's me. But yeah, I guess I'm going to have to take that feature off. I wanted the chat to be up on the screen because sometimes people leave really helpful comments, but, these people leaving the dox stuff, looks like that might be getting the videos taken down. So. All right. Leper Messiah, he says, explore other options on how to support this work. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Leper Messiah. I appreciate that. For anybody who is interested in supporting the work, buying my book is a great way. Supporting the Patreon, pledging $1 a month. Links to donate in the chat. I do appreciate it. Gematria's Key 123 said Super Bowl on the 39th day of the year. Yeah, it is a New York City number. That is true. It's February 8th. Josh Allen is going to play 137 days after his birthday. Josh Allen, 137 is the 33rd prime. That's why they wrote Josh Allen equals 33. Born on a 33 date numerology. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I forgot to make a point about the whole Josh Allen thing that I brought up. Look at this, you guys. Again, earlier I talked about the death of this reality TV star, Josh Allen, who's dead at 36 for unknown reasons. Dead during the 106th NFL season on the day, leaving 92 days left in the year. Dead on the 133rd day of Josh Allen's age. Remember, football, government, White House, they all equal 133. It matters because the NFL was founded on the 133rd birthday of the Constitution. Year after year, I'm showing you how the NFL is all synced with the National Fix League. Last year was Super Bowl 59. Biden won the 59th election. His favorite team, the Eagles, he's from Pennsylvania. Biden won the Super Bowl. And don't forget, Biden signed that thing making the bald eagle the national bird. And then Bill Bergey of the Eagles died, the next day? And the next thing you know, the Eagles have won the Super Bowl. Again, it's all the same type of stuff year after year. And remember, Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk equals 60. And got Super Bowl 60 upcoming. And like you just said, Trump's a New York guy. Super Bowl's on the 39th day of the year, big New York number. But here's what I wanted to add. I forgot to add this. The season that this guy won, season 4, this Josh Allen who's dead, he won season 4, which premiered on May 22nd, 2008. That was one day after Josh Allen's birthday. Josh Allen turned 12. Turned 12 years old. And, of course, 12 is a special number in the NFL. It's a 120-yard field. Somebody out there like, no, it's 100 yards. So how big are the end zones, buddy? 10 yards each? Yeah, 120. And, again, 12 is the most winningest number for Super Bowl quarterbacks in history. Granted, Josh Allen doesn't wear 12. He wears 17, like he picked up the 17th home win of the year this year for home teams in prime time. And the value in this knowledge, you guys, the NFL doubleheader, road teams fell to 24-39 with the NFL doubleheader. 24-39. Who was the second road team in the doubleheader? It was the Bengals. 24-39. Dolphins picked up the 38th home win. Dolphins 38, like Florida. The whole league scripted together. It's all one big script. And it's all scripted with the politics and the news. And if you're out there going, what's the point of knowing this knowledge? I don't know. Figure out how to boost your IQ. That's what you need to figure out how to do. You shouldn't have to ask that question. There's nothing else like this out there. There's nothing else that shows how it's all scripted together. You can use the knowledge to make money. You can use the knowledge to not be fooled by the deception. You can use the knowledge to prove that these things that you're probably very invested in are actually very sick and demonic, from politics to these rigged sports games. So, okay. All right. Here, I'm going to drop the link real quick. We haven't had people come on in a minute. If you guys see anything you want to add to what I'm talking about or any big stories I missed, I'm going to drop the link right now. All right, I think I got it there. You guys just click that link. You don't have to put your face on the screen. You just got to allow access to your microphone, and then it's pretty much being on the phone. But the advantage of doing it this way is everybody gets a nice, clean audio quality. Thank you for doing that, Soldier Fields. I appreciate that, Soldier Fields. Yeah, if everybody did that, it would help out in the algorithm a lot. What's up, porn star Jay? Now, porn star Jay, this guy met me in San Francisco. Do you remember how that Cuts guy came out with us? And do you see how he trolls every day now? What do you got to say about that? He wasn't trolling us that day. He was acting like he was some friend of the community. Now he's been trolling every day for 3 years straight. Porn star Jay was out on the streets of San Francisco with us with his Chucky doll on his backpack. I'll never forget it. Okay. Somebody's got a question about history. I know, didn't the Reds beat the Dodgers in 95? Go back and look to answer your question, though, but you might be onto something. Audio's been choppy, huh? Let me see. It shows a good signal over here. Yeah. Seems like that report's happened a lot lately. What's up, Richard?
Yo, what's up, Zach? It's been a minute. Hey, did you know,
Richard,
Josh?
if you're on, for some reason I can't hear you. There we go. I started to hear you right there. I started to hear you. Started to hear him right as he went out. Here, I'll drop the link again for anybody who'd like to join the stream. All right, try it again, Richard.
All right, can you hear me?
There we go. What's up?
What's up, man? To add to your Josh Allen decode, man. He's born on 13/3. That's the 72nd day of the year.
And so he's born on a date that can be written 13/3, like 133, yeah. And he's dead on the 133rd day of Josh Allen's age.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, and then that's the 72nd day of the year. That's the anniversary of Pope Francis becoming the Pope. Of course, Buffalo Bills equals Jesuit order 72. And he died 54 days after the anniversary of becoming the winner of that show, which was August 7th, 2008. 17 years.
Bills 54, Buffalo Bills 72, Jesuit order 54, 72.
Yeah, 17 years. 17 years. Josh Allen, where's 17?
Don't forget how we were out there when the top shooting happened in Buffalo, showing how they were going to open the season in 117 days and beating the Rams. And when I say out there, I was literally out there for a week on the streets of Buffalo, educating
that was the
people
same
in real
day.
life.
That was the same day as a shooting in LA, which equals 117 as well, right?
Yeah, and he's from California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's from my hometown, Fireball, which runs through State Route 33.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. And what's funny about that is his family. My pops actually played football with his grandpa and his father. So, yeah,
that's cool.
So they come from money, and they're a very racist family, man. They're very racist. They hate black people. You know, they hate Mexicans. So, yeah, very racist family, but no doubt about it, born and bred into the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I just want to remind something about the ownership here and the coach of the Bills. Yeah. Terry Pagula, his full name, Terrence Michael Pagula, 201, and Sean McDermott, the full coach's name. Hold up. Sean Michael McDermott.
201.
201.
Yep.
That's who runs your NFL. That's why they all play for that Lombardi trophy. The Jesuit who died unexpectedly at Jesuit Georgetown the day before the 1970 season kicked off.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget that Joshua Allen, he died 201 days after his birthday, too. On the day with 84 numerology.
He died in a 201 ritual, too?
Yeah, he died 201 days after his birthday. His birthday is March 13th. He died
yesterday.
30th, yeah. Mm-hmm. Day with 84.
I didn't find his birthday, so that was a good piece of information. Yeah, look at that, you guys. See, I didn't even know that. And it's just like, come on, man.
Go figure.
Can you imagine, like, what's wrong with people? When they come here and they go, what's the point of knowing this? Do you think it's just trolling, or are these people just that stupid?
I think it's both, man. I think just people are just getting dumber and dumber. Like, I see it every day. Like, you just go out anywhere, you just go out anywhere, public spaces, anywhere like that. You just see people just getting dumber and dumber. So I see people just getting dumber and dumber. That and trolling. People do like to come here and troll. So.
All right, I got to add that to the post. Yeah, always with the great additions. Always the greatest. You guys, I gotta be honest. I think if King Richard and I both got a story fresh, I think if we both had to race to put out the pulse, I think King Richard would come up with a better decode.
Yeah, no, I had to see that real quick. I had to look. I'm like, when is this guy's birthday? And then I laughed when I seen it was 13/3. I'm like, oh, that's the anniversary of the Pope being put in there. The last Pope, of course, Pope Francis. So.
Yeah. 72nd day of the year, like you said, going Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's sick, man. I mean, this is sick stuff. Every Bills fan should know about this.
That's
Here, you love
mockery.
Josh Allen?
That's mockery.
Yeah. He marries a black woman this year, and then a black man's got to die for him.
Yeah. And that's just a mockery, man. And then that other woman dying on the at age 91 on the day leaving 91 days left in the year. I mean, I just had to laugh at that when I seen that this morning. It's like, come on, man. So.
Yeah, it's like all the same numbers as the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooter.
Yeah, which was a complete hoax. And there was somebody actually about that. There was actually somebody in the crowd that said, it's fake. It's fake. It's like, come on, man. Oh. Yeah, it's one hoax after the next hoax, right? Oh.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, hey, great additions. Was there anything else you wanted to add to?
No, that's about it. That's all I had for that. But yeah, I mean, just Mocker, right? Just 17 years after being announced the winner, and he wears number 17.
Oh yeah, you know what? I overlooked that piece. Yeah, too. You're right. 17 years for number 17.
Yep.
Sick.
Yep, it's sick, man. It's sick. But yeah, they do this stuff every year. They do this stuff every year, every week, every day, every time. So it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all. So
No, it's business as usual. I mean, how many more times is the same type of thing going to happen this year?
Exactly. It's just like the Bad Bunny joke. Like literally, the guy's name literally equals the same thing as football in all ciphers. And
133 days before the Super Bowl.
Yep, exactly. And the NFL was born 133 years after the Constitution was written or put out there on September 17th. Don't forget that's Patrick Mahomes' birthday too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all I had for that. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you. It's been a while, but hey, appreciate it.
All right. Good ones as always, Rich.
All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, take care. All right, we got a pasta.
Hey,
what's up,
Zach? First time I ever got a hold of you. Been listening for a long time. You know, when people say, "What difference does it make whether we know that or not?" Well, something with that Charlie Kirk pops up, and you hear Cash Patel get out there with 33 hours. You know, it has gone down. So anyway, you're awake to it, man, in every way. But this is a little off topic. Every time I see it, you go live and I go, I missed that window. I'm thinking, I wonder if he's got a minute to just try on this. I know you've gone into a lot of stuff on Prince, but he had an album out, and I never heard you talk about this, and it might be something to it.
3121. You know, I'm not aware of that. I'm going to have to look into it. I'll remind people, though, Prince died 201 days before the election was called for Trump, and he did have the song Black Donald Trump, and again, Purple Rain's 58, like that was the 58th election. But 3121,
yeah,
look into it. He had the song 319. He had the song 319. He died 319 days after his birthday, too. He had the song I Would Die For You, used the 21st letter. He died 421.
I've listened to all that, and I'm amazed. I know about most everything you said about that, but I've never heard anything you say about he used, because Prince was a weird guy. I mean, he was into a lot of stuff. So he names his album 3121. He as a very young guy, he probably crossed the gatekeepers. So bingo, what happened? You know,
well,
he knew.
Prince knew things because Prince, I don't know if the internet's been scrubbed of a lot of good stuff, but anyone who looked into it at the time, he had that, before he came back to America from his European tour, he started saying about how Obama's going to drop the bomb, and he was sad he has to go back to America. So
I heard that play before I heard that tape. Yeah. So yeah, he was on to a lot of stuff, man. And then he was interviewed by that guy, Travis Smiley, I think his name was. And he started talking about the chemtrails.
Yeah.
So he knew a lot of crap. Yeah, I've been on the most
stuff. Ever seen what Prince said about Tavis Smiley I'm going to bring up something since you brought up Prince that I've been thinking about with this NFL season because it's from the Tavis Smiley interview. Everybody should look up Prince's Tavis Smiley interview. And if you don't know who Tavis Smiley is, I forget what they booted him from TV for. He's another black guy that got shamed, sadly. But his show was actually all right for the things on TV.
Yeah.
Prince talked about his theory on chemtrails and that thing, and he said that he thinks they put them in the sky to impact our mood because he said he knows some days he's just feeling wild and he looks up at the sky and there's all this crap all over. I think it's an interesting theory. But Prince ends that interview by saying, do you remember what he said?
I saw the interview and now suddenly I don't recall exactly what he said at the end, but
here's what said to me. He ends the interview by saying, all we can go by now is prophecy, right? He ends the interview saying that.
Yeah.
And prophecy was 106, and we're in the 106th NFL season. And remember, Jim Irsay was in the headlines as soon as Prince died because he bought Prince's guitar from Purple Rain. And then Jim Irsay ends up dying 106 days before this season begins. And the Colts get off to one of their best starts in forever and expect them to become 4-1 this week. They've already scored 41 in 2 of their games. Jim Irsay equals 41. We thought there'd be 41 points in the first Colts game, and there was. But, yeah, so I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, okay. And don't forget, Super Bowl 41 is the only Super Bowl halftime show where it ever rained, and you know who performed, right, for Super Bowl 41?
Oh, yeah. I watched that one.
Yeah. Prince performed Purple Rain in the rain, and that's the only Super Bowl halftime show where it ever rained, for all you guys who don't think they control the weather. So, yeah, we'll see where this goes, but I'm thinking about that with all we can go by now is prophecy and it being the 106th season, that there's something to it with Jim Irsay's death. So,
oh yeah, one other thing too, if you didn't know about 3121, he did this whole apocalyptic album called Rainbow Children, and that's really weird, man, because that's Prince is a heavy dude, man.
I see that 31 was his 31st album. I'll think more about where he was going with this. His 31st album was 3121.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad
I mean, you put those two numbers together. You put the two numbers together, it's got that big Minnesota connection, 52, 31 plus 21, and so does prophecy. But that's probably not it. I'll have to think about it because I'm actually not aware of that album. I've never heard it.
Oh, great. It's not a bad album either if you want to listen to it. It's good. One of his best, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. Thanks a lot for perking up to that, man.
Okay.
And I've been listening to you for years, and believe me, when you get into everything that people need to be concerned about, your stuff is on top. I'm telling you.
Appreciate that.
You bet.
So he put out his 31st album on the 21st of March. So I mean that you see something to it, but 31 is the 11th prime number, and 21. There's all kinds of things that are interesting about 21. 33 is the 21st composite. The ranging degrees of the Scottish Rite to get all the significance are 31 through 33. Is it some kind of hidden way of saying 31, 33? Probably. I got to think about it. There's something there, though. What's up, Randy?
What's going on, Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
You saw with the whole government shutdown thing. It's the span of 110 days after Trump's birthday.
Oh, it's 110 days, like president?
Yeah. And the last time there was a shutdown, it was December 22nd, 2018, which it said it lasted 35 days. The phrase shuts down equals 35. You know, that day had 45 date numerology and 72.
Okay.
And I also saw it's 42 days also from Arturo Soso's birthday. And
November 12th.
November 12th.
Okay.
And today has 36 date numerology like Black Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the whole even the whole phrase like all roads lead to Rome equaling 107, and Kamala Harris just put out her 107 days book a span of 9 days ago. You know, she's always talking about she's a divine 9 sister. You know, and there's the whole connection with that.
Interesting. I got to look into this Kamala Harris book, huh? 107 days, big number with Charlie Kirk, which happened
Yeah.
13 days earlier. Like it happened 13 years after Turning Point was founded.
And she was the first one to tweet this morning how, the government shutdown is a Democratic fault. It had nothing to do. I might say Republican fault, had nothing to do with Democrats or not to blame. So she was like the first one to tweet about it in the morning.
I see her first book, Smart on Crime, came out on 10/7. Somehow 107 in this lady.
10/7. There might be something going on this upcoming knife. This upcoming knife on the kill date.
Yeah. I think it's quite probable.
And even the whole Bronx collapsing thing, because that's around where I grew up. I saw that happen in the Mott Haven neighborhood. Mott Haven equals 44. Today's Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I skipped that part of my post. It equals 44 and 37, like Wednesday.
Yep. They're talking about right now the news how they just said how 94 people volunteered to give.
Come on, man! The World Trade Center's open on the 94th day of the year.
That's what Channel 7 just reported. 94 people volunteered.
Yeah, and World Trade Center equals 94. So it's just obvious. 20 days after.
Do you?
It makes you wonder how they do it. I mean,
yeah.
what did they do to make this partially collapse? What did they do?
Because obviously they didn't want no one to die in this one, so they just
or maybe it's a miracle. Maybe they did.
Yeah. Maybe it's a miracle. I'm trying to tell my friends about it. They keep asking, how is it that they do everything numerically so perfectly? Some that it could be some type of magic.
I do think it is. I think it is some kind of sorcery at this point. I mean, some of the stuff they do, it's hard to explain. It's like, I don't know how they could pull that off. I mean, some stuff I say how they can just contrive it, but I really do feel like there's a level of sorcery to this.
Yeah. I've read like numerous like Manly P.O. books about sometimes other books, how summoning demons and stuff. It seems like that's definitely what they're most likely doing to make these football players, whenever a touchdown got to happen at that right moment. Or I know you saw like how the two quarterbacks, not quarterbacks, the two wide receivers who finally got their team a win. Their main wide receivers got their torn ACLs. Tyreek Hill got his torn ACL.
Well, I'm questioning if Tyreek Hill even got hurt. He was so happy about it. He was like, I hate playing for this team. I'm getting paid. I'll be back next year. Vacation. That's how he looked going out there smiling. He was just like, torn ACL.
It's just so crazy because Dolphins was on 10 points and he wears number 10 and he goes
exactly.
down.
That's what I mean. He didn't look. I mean, listen, I haven't torn ACL, but I've heard it's quite painful, man. That guy must have a super high pain threshold because he never looked happier.
I broke my femur in a car crash, and there was nothing to smile about that. So I don't know how he's laughing at a torn ACL.
Okay.
But yeah, man, these guys, it's definitely the sorcery going on. I guess the Kabbalah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty much all I just wanted to just input.
All right, Randy. Appreciate all those thoughts,
No
man.
problem.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, take care. That's it. All right, we got King Rich back. What's up, Rich?
Hey, to add on to that building collapse, the media, they're emphasizing that a partial stop work order was stopped on this building on June 25th, which means that
George Orwell's birthday?
Yeah, which means that today is 98 days after. 98 days, profit 98.
Okay. It's the day after Freemasonry's birthday, too.
Didn't somebody just mention that it's 110 days after Donald Trump's birthday? He's a big New York guy.
Yeah. He's from Queens.
Prophecy is 110.
Yeah, prophecy and prophet.
And he's from New York. And here we are on the time of the 106th NFL season. There might be something with that.
What did you say about 110th season?
No, I said the 106th season. It's the 106th season right now.
Yeah.
110, 106, prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah, prophet. Is it prophet or prophecy 98?
Prophet is 98.
Right. Prophet.
Hey, and people didn't think about that word, right? Like prophet.
And they were calling
if you know the future, you can make a lot of money. We see the game is rigged.
They were calling Charlie Kirk a prophet, weren't they?
and they're raking in all kinds of money.
They're ranking millions, man. Raking in millions from retards out there believing this shit.
Yeah.
That's what makes me sad, bro. Like, how can anybody not see through that shit, man?
Yeah. It is sad.
Yeah. There's another thing I wanted to mention with Donald Trump and this building collapse. Try to find it right here. They said that it started on 138th Street. Residents were sent to a community center at 130th
You say 138th Street?
Yep.
Is that what you said? 138?
Yeah, 138th Street and Alexander Avenue, New York.
Donald Trump, federal, the Jesuit order's birthday is the day, leaving 138 days left in the year.
Yep. And it also says assisting 140 residents, Washington 140. So 98 days.
47. It's 47 days after the Jesuit order's birthday too, with this whole Trump thing.
Yeah, or a span of 48, right?
Yeah.
Donald Trump 48. Donald Trump 48 and 60. So
Building 7 was the 47-story tall building.
yeah, Osama bin Laden 47 and 110.
By the way, my mom sent me a video that's on Facebook that has over 45,000 likes as of this morning. And it's some woman like, it sounds, because my mom's like, do you know this lake? She's like saying exactly what you say about 33 and the Masons and the 47 Prime of Euclid. It's just a really simple video about 33 and 47 with 45,000 likes. And I'm like, how does a video like this, like just parodying something I've said a gazillion times, have 40? I never had a video get anywhere near 45,000 likes. Like, so it shows, I guess they can let a little numerology information get out there, but why don't they ever
Well,
let
they never
me?
expand on it, right? I mean, some of these guys that are talking about numerology and stuff like that, they never expand on it like you do, right?
Well, I think part of the reason they keep me down is because they know I'll go out and be an activist in public. I still remember the first time my YouTube channel got shut down. I got my YouTube, Facebook, and what was there? They shut down 3 things together, and they all made me submit my photo ID, and it was way back in 2015. I never had that before, where I had to submit my photo ID to unlock. But it was because I was going to – years ago, there was a home – it was one of the Texas schools. I think it was one of the Texas schools. There was a homecoming parade where a car was driven into the crowd and hurt a bunch of people. And then the football score that night was the same gematria as the driver. And I was like, look at this. I said, I'm going to go down to this school and teach about this.
Did they do the same thing this year at the New Orleans parade? They did the same shit.
It was similar. It was similar.
Yeah, they did the same thing this year, the start of this year. Yeah. Total mockery, man. Like I said, man, I just get frustrated, man. Just like I said, I still go out there and I teach this shit to people, man. And people just give me like the deer in the headlights look, like I'm insane. Like I'm insane. Or they'll say stupid shit like, "Oh, you're retarded," and I'll come back with, "No, you're retarded because you can't see it." It's like that one quote: "You can't handle the truth."
Yeah, you can't convince a fool they're a fool either. So.
You can't convince a believer. You can never convince a believer because all their shit is just belief. The word was lie in the middle of it. You got a lot of people believing in aliens. Another word was lie in the middle of it. So,
yeah, indeed. So,
all right, brother. Hey, I'll keep it short and sweet, man. But hey, appreciate it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, take care, Rich.
Hey, you too.
Yeah, and I got to go pick up my daughter as well. Yeah, I guess I just got to keep that feature off the screen because I lost 2 videos now in the last 2 days for privacy complaints, and it looks like that's what it is because of what's going on in the comments section. It's annoying. It's annoying, man. Just all the weird levels of trolling around here. So. All right, guys. Again, and thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who takes a second after the videos over to post a short comments. Again, all that stuff's supposed to help the algorithm, but again, ever since they deleted that video, man, nothing's getting any views again. So anyway, we'll persist anyhow. Until next time, True Seeker.